Welcome to Southwest Yard and Garden. I'm John White. Today we're in the yard of Gabe Ludwig, and Gabe is a homeowner here in Las Cruces, and Gabe is working with us on an experimental lawn design, and that's using subsurface irrigation. And Gabe, what is subsurface irrigation?
It's basically, John, a drip that is spread out across the yard that will supply water underneath the soil line.
Okay, so instead of putting it on top, it's actually underneath the sod.
Feeding the roots only.
And the sod is a kind of a new grass here in the Cruces area too. It's a zoysia, and right now we don't have a real good source of it, so this is kind of a little bit of an experiment just to see how well the zoysia here and how well it works with the subsurface system.
Right.
What are some of the first things you did to get the yard prepared for zoysia?
First, John, I cleaned up the yard and kind of leveled it off. I went down to Ewing Irrigation and was talking to them about it, and I had them draw up a plan, and then I came back and just kind of measured everything out and staked off the yard. And those were the first steps.
Okay, you staked it off and I guess removed, debris and got it leveled out
That's right.
to get set up. And then as far as followed the plans on the design.
Yeah.
And then started laying pipe out.
Yeah.
Now this system is a kind of continuous system. You got two.
I have two stations, John. One is right here, and then the other one's on the other side right there. And basically, I piped in the main line and then tied it into the netafim, and that just feeds all the lines of drip.
Okay. And the netafim is the trade name of the drip line that's being used here, the subsurface system. But it is important that we had the header lines that are going to carry the main flow of water, and then they will distribute it out into the individual lines.
That's right.
And there's header lines on both ends of the yard so that the water flows from both ends, keeps a continuous flow. And the advantages to this type of system are
you get a better distribution of coverage because you don't have any loss to wind. You're not having to fool with the sprinklers trying to get them adjusted for odd angles. And then it waters only the roots, so you don't have any evaporative loss.
Okay. Now as far as the system, I guess you can fancy it up by even putting an injector in the system and fertilize.
And I'm looking into
underground.
that right now.
So it's got a lot of advantages, especially in a windy climate like ours, that there's some real advantages, plus a water savings that everybody's important.
It is a little more expensive initial, maybe about 30 to 40% more, but calculations off of some California experiments, you pay that off in the first 2 to 3 years.
Okay. Now there are some special valves that you have to use with this system.
Yes, you have to have an air relief valve, which is located at the highest point of the yard. It will drain off any air in the pipe. Because the system will drain off the water at the end, it'll fill up with air, and then it'll push all the air out of the valve. And then there are flush valves. These flush valves will pick up any debris that got into the system and flush them out. The flush valve will pop open at the very beginning and drain water, approximately about a gallon, and then a diaphragm will close it off and seal it up.
Okay. So these emitters are each putting out about, what, 9/10 of a gallon?
That's what I understand, yeah.
And we have an emitter set every
12 inches.
Every 12 inches, and the lines are basically about
12 inches.
12 inches apart. And how long do you run the system for?
To establish the turf, I'm running it quite a bit, 20 minutes 2 times a day with 1 hour every third day. Okay. And once the turf is established, I should only have to run it 1 time a week with the 1 hour.
Okay. Well, that, we'll kind of keep abreast of the project here, so we'll kind of keep coming back to see how it's going. But this is a system that is widely used in Europe and starting to come to the United States. We do have a couple irrigation companies here in town that are installing some turf areas with subsurface drip, so it is something that can be done. So this is kind of an idea to let homeowners know this is something that can be done, and probably works better with somebody that's just putting in a yard.
It's a lot easier with just putting in the yard. If we were going into an established turf for my yard with the high sand, I would have to have a trench every 12 inches. And instead of doing that, I just laid down the Netafim, put the no trenches, and just put the sod on top. And so it was a lot easier. It can be done, and there are trenching machines that can do it.
Now, some of the tricks on the sod was just laid right on top of the Netafim.
Yes.
There was no soil put on top of the emitters, and it just went straight on top of it. When you're working with the sod, you do want to make sure that it's laid up against itself, and if there's spots where there is a crack or an opening, it is good to put sand between the cracks.
Top dress.
This is a spreading type grass, so it will fill in. It's a slow growing grass, but it will fill in. So hopefully we'll have a nice looking yard. It is slow growing, so it'll take a little while. But Gabe, I'd like to thank you very much for being on Southwest Yard and Garden and inviting us into your yard.
Well, thank you, John.